Thanks for listening to our podcast. Be sure to give us a follow and subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay up to date with the Manga Monday show.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Manga Monday show. My name's Edgar, and joining me is my co-host, Ben.
Hey, what's up, guys?
It's good to be back. Second week, 2 for 2. Let's do this.
We promised we'd be back, and we're back.
Yeah, I don't think it would have been a good. It would have been really awkward if we
Yeah.
just didn't do anything after.
If we were just gone.
Yeah.
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 After that, but I think we got some of the sound stuff ironed out,
Uh-huh.
so I think it sounds great.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
You'll see an evolution in like a lot of things on
Oh, yeah.
how we record, how good the quality of everything will be. At least I hope so. We've learned our lessons from like a lot of things. Doing this podcast was like, I mean, at least post production was like, and I'm over exaggerating by the terms of post production, but it was like one of the hardest things I had to do was listen to my own voice.
Oh, yeah.
I'm one of those people that I just cannot. I was like going through like the files, and I'm like, wow, I really hate the way I sound. I don't know if it sounds good. I sent it to my friend Ben, and he was like, dude, it sounds great. What are you talking about?
Wait,
I was
another
like,
Ben?
No, I mean in third person, like I'm explaining it. to you.
Okay.
That's
I was like, is there another
No,
Ben
no, no,
that
no.
I need to know
I
about?
sent it to you, and you're like, dude, it sounds great. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And it just like, and everything that it did to get it out,
Right.
just like I was like, man, this
But
is like,
you also have to realize, like, I'm a voice actor in training, you
Yeah.
know, so I constantly have to. I record myself every week because I do fun fan projects like Skyrim mods and stuff like. So I have to listen to my voice, and I'm sure at the first 2 weeks I was dying of pain, but now I'm just used to my own voice. Once you get used to it, it's fine.
I feel like
you
you'll
know,
never get there.
I think you'll get there.
There's certain actors that just can't do that. You know, Jesse Eisenberg from The Social Network, Zombieland.
Yeah,
He hates he doesn't watch his movies.
yeah.
He hates the way he doesn't like looking at himself. He doesn't like the way he sounds.
Yeah, Kylo Ren's voice actor,
He's
a
a-
voice
Adam
actor.
Driver?
Yeah, Adam
doesn't-
Driver.
he
He doesn't watch his movies either.
I feel like I'd be
apparently.
like them. I mean, they're great actors.
Yeah.
I can totally relate.
Yeah, unless like I know it's good, you know. But I always I can't watch myself in a play.
Yeah.
Like I did a film.
Well, I mean, they rarely. Well, actually, sometimes they record.
Well, recently because of the pandemic, I had to do a filmed like play
Yeah.
production, and watching it alone was one of the most painful things. So I had to watch it every time with my family. So yeah, that was. Not
I don't
fun.
want to. I know there's recordings of our high school plays, and God forbid, I do not want to look at those again.
Well,
Only
you're
a
out of
joke.
luck because a lot of our friends like to bring those up when we hang out. They're like, "Hey, let's watch this Hello Dolly performance
I'd rather jump.
where I'm 17 years old and playing like a 42-year-old." Yeah,
That was our peak acting. I don't know what you're talking about, Ben.
yeah. Well, it was over for me then. But how was your week, Edgar? Did you have a good week?
It's been good. I spent
good.
obviously the first few days every now and then doing this podcast, and still working, still doing school. And we saw the Jujutsu Kaisen movie this past week. At least
Yeah.
we watched it the day after our first recording.
Yeah.
We'll get into that because that's what we're going to be talking about today, Jujutsu
Yeah.
Kaisen. But first, Ben has some news for us. to
Yeah,
throw at
I
us.
do. I got a couple of news segments.
News segment.
We're going to start the show off. I'm just going to read them off to you.
Mm-hmm.
We're a couple late on this one, and some of these are red hot. They're piping hot.
Yeah.
They're on the dinner plate. But this is the big one for today.
Alrighty.
Shows delayed after TOEI Animation hacked.
Oh yeah, I heard
Did you hear about that? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Popular shows such as One Piece, Dragon Quest, and Digimon have all been delayed. IGN reports TOEI Animation became the target of an online hack on March 6th when an unauthorized third party attempted to access the company's network, which resulted in its online store and internal systems temporarily shutting down as safety measures.
It's not good.
Yeah, that's not good. The suspension of those systems will affect the airing dates of some episodes of its anime series. The shutdown has impacted the broadcasting schedules of 4 anime titles in total, with new episodes of Dragon Quest: The Adventure of Dai. That's a good manga.
Is
we
it?
should talk about. It is a good manga.
You're reading it?
I have read it.
It looks
because
like it's written by the same guy
Yeah.
who did Dragon Ball.
it is. It is. Akira Toriyama does the character design for all Dragon Quest games.
But it's
So,
a
yeah.
different writer, though, right?
I don't know.
Wait,
That's
is
a
it,
good
it's
question.
It's a game, or is it a?
Dragon Quest is a game. It's a video game series, but I think Akira Toriyama made the manga. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But it's a good manga. I read it because I did a fan dub of it a little while back. But yeah, The Adventures of Dai is good. One Piece, obviously the big one. Digimon Ghost Game, don't know that. And this one has a weird title: Delicious Party, Pretty Cure.
Okay, I can get an idea what that's about.
Yeah, interesting.
But you hear that, anime only One Piece fans? You have plenty of time to catch up now.
Yeah,
Get
exactly.
On that.
Get on it. All affected by the incident. So these animes are suspended indefinitely.
Yeah, it's in a hiatus.
Yeah, which is like just something you don't want to hear the word indefinitely.
No, these are big. I mean, I'm not a One Piece fan, as many of you will keep hearing and know, but just knowing that something as big as One Piece is being put on such a unknown how long of a delay is just like absolutely crazy, and I'm pretty sure
Terrifying,
they're freaking out
yeah.
over there. I don't know if this will affect the movie as well. Doesn't Dragon Ball? I'm talking about Dragon Ball now. Doesn't Dragon Ball have a movie coming out?
Well, I'm about to jump on that.
Yeah.
And I have in bold letters, this one hurts.
Yeah.
From Kotaku.com, originally slated for an April 22nd release in Japan, Dragon Ball Super Superhero has been delayed as the unauthorized third-party hack Toei Animation. In quotation marks, this has made working on productions difficult, Toei Animation stated in an official release. Because of these hardships, the company said it had no choice but to delay the movie's release. To those looking forward to the release, we are truly sorry. Toei Animation will announce the movie's new release date at another time.
Wow.
Ah!
I did not. I was thinking it. I was like, "There's no way they would," and then they just did it.
And they just did it, yeah. And I mean, it makes sense, but it doesn't mean it doesn't not hurt.
Yeah.
You know, because God,
I don't know why they did it. Just for pranks, like for lol's sake, or for.
I don't know.
Or is it like? Because I know Toei is always
Yeah.
like in like kind of weighty hot water.
Yeah.
Because of how they run their company, and recent
copyright stuff.
yeah,
mainly.
especially if y'all follow the YouTuber Totally Not Mark, he had issues with them and copyright issues, and they were not on the right end of those.
And even years before then, Team 4-Star has been like battling out with them for years.
Yeah.
You know?
So in a sense,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that much information about it, but it seems like Toei Animation is always like not on the right side of things when it comes to those. So I'm kind of wondering if whoever, and this might be a bit of a stretch, who did that was in terms of like this is what you get, or this is what you deserve. Because this is a big company, and they did get into their source files enough for them to stop, because it wasn't like hacking in terms of like social media or like websites. It doesn't seem like that. They got into like the shows, like data, like the actual show, like animations.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder if Toei Animation is like lessening how much damage they did.
Yeah.
Because like obviously a lot of companies have been hacked. Like I think there was a hack with Epic Games or something, and they like contact information of players got released, and like this is the first time like a company is kind of like, I've heard of a hack and it's like really reeled. So it makes you think like, did they actually get in and maybe like get some of the animation, or something like that? If I was an animator and some of those like
all that hard work, and just to like for it to not be put on, when
and be
it's
like, you're gonna redo this.
Oh my god.
No,
I'd
I'd be like, you will hire new directors, and I will not do this.
That sucks.
But yeah, that does suck. We'll of course talk about Dragon Ball Super Superhero on here. I'm super excited about it. We'll talk about our predictions when it comes out.
Yeah, I just know that it's 3D CGI, right?
And Gohan's the lead.
Yeah, that's.
It's gonna be.
I don't know
awesome.
anything about Dragon. I've only seen Dragon Ball Z Kai like way back when, so I only know as much as Ben tells me. But I know it is super hyped. I know Dragon Ball movies are like a big event that plenty of fans love going to. So this would be a big hit, and a lot of people are still hoping to see it someday.
Yeah. So that was the big one. These are of course smaller compared to that, but I thought that all of these are interesting. Inio Asano's Dead Demons Destruction manga gets an anime.
Are all those D's in there?
Yes. Destruction. I'm not kidding. Look at this. Destruction. That is the actual title of it, and it has a good following. Okay. And it's got like an 8 point something on my anime list, which I think is interesting. I just thought the name was fascinating. So The series revolves around the strange everyday life of a very ordinary high school girl, Kadode Koyama, her friend Oran Nakagawa, and others in the world where a giant mothership has appeared over Tokyo. Asano launched the series in Shogakukan's weekly Big Comic Spirits magazine in April 2014. Asano put the manga on hiatus very often since July 2014. The manga ended on February 28th this year, and the manga's 12th and final volume will ship on March 30th. So we might give that a look, before it comes out.
It has good ratings.
Yeah.
Anything above it, 8, unless I've already have some interest in.
Yeah.
I always a lot of people are always kind of harsh with critiques, so this seems interesting. Especially, I like seeing mangas getting adaptations.
Yeah, definitely. This one's for you, Edgar. A lot of the words in here I'm not going to get at all, but I'm going to try. Second Sword Art Online progressive anime film opens this fall. Sword Art Online Progressive, a retelling of the series' Aincrad arc. Aincrad.
Get it right,
I'm
you heathen.
I'm sorry. I have, just so you know, I've never seen or read anything Sword Art, but was first published by author Reiki Kawahara in 2012 and now spans 8 volumes, with each volume generally covering a single floor in the Sword Art Online game. Starting from floor 1 in Aria of the Starless Night, Scherzo of Deep Night is the title of the 4th volume storyline, which means we'll be jumping ahead to floor 5 of Sword Art Online when the new film premieres this fall in Japan. Are you excited for this film?
I'm totally excited. I saw the last film. When did it come out? I want to say it was November or December. I'm pretty sure it was just early December when it came out in the United States. But I was super excited. Basically, what this is, if you don't, for those of you who don't know, there was a light novel series that was written and an anime adaptation. I'll just gloss over the plot of it. Essentially, gamers get trapped in a video game. And if you die in the video game or attempt to log out, at least I don't know, outside of the game, if people try to disconnect your I'm really butchering it right now. I'm trying to remember nerve gears, how they played. If they try to log you out manually, or if you died in the game, you would die in real life. Right. Essentially, they get trapped in the game. There's 100 floors to go through. Essentially, the anime only goes through takes a place in the game 12 episodes, and it deals with a whole bunch of other stuff afterwards. And people wanted more about the floors, wanted more story from the floors, so we didn't get to see a lot of what happened in the actual game. So that's what these movies are doing. They're adapting another series, Progressive, which goes through floor 1 all the way to floor 70 something when they beat the game.
Wow.
Spoiler alert, but it's in 12 episodes, so it's not that much. Yeah, it's not that much of a spoiler.
Yeah, well, I might catch up before this movie comes out so that I can have a fresh view of it and we can talk about it.
Yeah, super excited.
Because I'll obviously go see it, but it's whether or not I have caught up at that point. Yeah. I'll just be like, what is happening?
I'll get you to watch it.
Yeah, don't worry, we'll get there. Spy Family reaches 15 million copies in circulation. Very cool. Very cool.
Very, very cool.
Obviously, anime coming out, but it's already for a manga to reach 15 million copies before the anime comes out is something we see very often, especially with stuff like Chainsaw Man now. But it's just it's
still impressive because it just doesn't when it gets when mangas get anime adaptations, it just gets reaches more than more than doubles the numbers of their fan bases, because it just reaches people who just only watch anime. Yeah, I can't even imagine how the numbers will look afterwards. You always see spikes if you look up Demon Slayer when the manga was coming out. Numbers are good, but once that anime came out, it spiked immensely. And I just waiting to see the shelves empty when the anime comes out, and God knows how Chainsaw Man will be when its anime gets out.
I mean, me and Edgar, we have these we're buying the manga right now, so we're a part of this 15 million. But
exactly,
I just thought it was interesting.
It's not much, but it's honest work.
Yeah, exactly. This one I thought was interesting. I didn't write down which website it was on, but I'll probably put it down in the description below. Titan Comics is to publish a new director's cut edition of Afro Samurai Volume 1 by Takashi Okazaki for the 26th of July 2022 for the 15th anniversary of the Afro Samurai anime that starred Samuel L. Jackson that I didn't know.
What?
Yeah, we should probably give this a look because I've never seen this. but it does have a very hard following. This remastered, fully authorized edition features a special commissioned new cover and foreword by Okazaki.
Wow. I always
Yeah.
hear that. I don't know much about the series other than I always like see it recommended to
Right.
anime or manga, however it is. I always get to see it recommended, and it looks really cool. So
Yeah.
now that Samuel Jackson's getting in it, I know he loves anime.
Yeah. Well, I think he starred in already the anime.
He did?
Yeah. Yeah, I think he starred as its leading character in the anime version. I think it came out in like 2005.
I need to watch. Why
Yeah.
haven't I?
Why haven't
Yo,
we heard of this?
Anytime a celebrity
Yeah.
is like anything involved in anime,
Yeah.
I'm like, holy crap!
like Steve Bloom and as
Billie
Cowboy-
Eilish.
Billie Eilish?
Yeah, she loves JoJo Bizarre Adventure, but she wore like a Fire Force shirt to like one of her concerts.
Oh, okay.
And she
I
also-
thought you were saying Billie Eilish was in JoJo's.
No,
And I was
no.
like,
That'd
are
be
you
insane.
kidding me?
No. But she
Yeah.
but she was wearing that shirt. I was like, holy crap! Celebrity likes
Yeah.
anime. It's just always cool to see.
Oh, it's always very cool. But like in terms of like very famous people like getting into voiceover for anime, like I'm always as somebody who's trying to get into the industry, I'm always like, please don't take my job, or please
Oh, right.
please I don't want to go in for an audition and then see like I don't know like Sebastian Stan across the aisle and be like,
Or worst of all,
damn.
Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man. We just had to. Chris Pratt. He's just
He's-
so much talent, man. The Lego Movie. It was just too good. We
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah.
We
No
can't
kidding.
pass this up.
No kidding. Yeah. Yeah. And then in a special Ben news, I just wanted to say that the Dragon Ball Super 18 cover looks fire.
I saw it and it
Fire.
was cool. I showed it to you.
Yeah.
I
Which
don't
is-
even know.
Which is just fast because I bought one Dragon Ball Super manga and that's because it was the climax of the Mora arc. And I'm sure we'll talk about the Dragon Ball Super manga eventually. But yeah, exactly. but the old Dragon Ball covers used to be like just fun stuff. Like it used to be just Goku like driving a car, or like Goku or like Piccolo wearing like a backwards hat. Just fun stuff.
Yeah, makes sense.
And I kind of wish that they kept doing that, but also this looks really cool, especially with Bardock and you have his storyline in this arc,
Yeah.
which is really cool. Yeah, and that's it for the news this week.
that's
Pretty
it.
pretty good news.
Yeah,
right?
pretty interesting. You always get
Pretty
stuff like this like every week. It's always interesting to see. You'll never
Yeah.
know what happens.
Yep. It's yeah.
We are
Yeah.
so good at segues.
Because we're so good at segues. Speaking of segues, segue.
Nice. I like that.
Nice.
No one will know.
What are we talking about next, Edgar?
We're gonna be talking about the Batman.
The Batman.
The Batman.
Oh, the Batman.
I love the Batman.
So good.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That,
so
yeah, what a segue that
yeah,
was.
I
yeah.
think we should just do that. We should just like try to sing the themes or just like say the name over and over
Yeah.
again.
Let's
All right.
let's not do that. Let's not get copyright.
Yeah,
No.
good point. I mean, I made that point,
Yeah.
but
Did you know, and you didn't, because only me and Edgar knows this, that Batman is actually the reason why our friendship started.
really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We were in rehearsals for one of our shows, and we were backstage, and I think I heard you say, "Because I'm Batman," and I was like, "Oh, because I'm Batman," and you went, "Oh, because I'm Batman," and I was like, "Oh," and that's just how our history started.
Yeah, those are the first words we said to each other.
Yeah. Like you always sat behind me in Mrs. Seth's class, but that was when we like became actual friends.
Yeah.
Just
That's good to
weird
know.
Stupid stuff like that happens.
Who knew that Robert
Yeah.
Pattinson would be in a Batman movie?
Yeah, I
Well-
saw this meme that was like girls in the early 2000s, and it was the Wolverine meme where he's like putting. I'll put it
I'm
up.
pretty
I'll
sure
put it up on the
I
YouTube
I
screen.
think I think I know what you're talking about. Like, is it the one with Edward?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like he's
girls
so
in
hot.
the 2000, and
Like-
it's like guys in 2022.
It's like,
and
yeah, from the Batman.
yeah. He's like rubbing it. I don't know why I'm doing things with my hands. You guys can't see that, but whatever.
You know,
Yeah.
well, yeah, you'll know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
You know what we're talking about. But me and Ben saw it. We saw an early screening of it, the Tuesday of its release. So we saw
did.
it like 2 days earlier than it came out nationwise. I was gonna say Nationwide, but that sounds like the insurance company.
Yeah.
We saw it early, and it was truly amazing to say
Yeah.
the least. I'm pretty sure everyone's like always keeps hearing about it, like, oh, you should watch the Batman. It's really cool. Oh, it's super realistic. It's really dark. It is really dark, not just in themes and like tone. It's like they forgot to turn off the lights in the in the movie.
Yeah.
But it's really good, and it's really impressive to see Robert Pattinson. I mean, it's not like this was like the first good movie he's been in. He's been doing like a lot of good stuff. He was in The Lighthouse. He was in Tenet. That was like the first time I saw Robert Pattinson again after the Twilight series. I can't say that I've seen anything else after that. I know he was in another film, The King, with Timothée Chalamet. So I think it's safe to say that he's officially taken off the mantle of being as the guy who was in Twilight. As that one shiny
I don't think
vampire.
any actor. Like, I'm always like, I don't think anybody should have that, like, on their shoulder.
No.
You know? Because every actor has done a bad and terrible thing.
Yeah, but, like,
nobody is exclusive.
But I think it goes without saying that the public always saw him, like, at least for most people who, like, are in the pop culture place, or people would say, like, would pass him off and say, oh, he's just like, he was all right. I didn't like Twilight. We all know, like, you know what I mean? Like, he'd always be that guy who, like, I can't name him. He's the example. He's the example. Him and Kristen Stewart were just unfortunately just given that title as those two actors in those awful movies. You know, it's just unfortunately how it was. But it's good that they're both. Kristen Stewart's nominated for like an Oscar now, Best Actress, and he's like in the Batman. They have clearly like just like shot out the ranks. I mean, that's what I mean by that.
Yeah, definitely.
They've come so far, and he was freaking great.
Yeah. By the way, in case you're wondering why you're like, hey, why are they talking about the Batman on a Manga Monday show?
This is an
guess what?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Manga in Japanese means comic, and this is a comic book movie, so we can talk about it. So shut your face.
Batman is manga confirmed.
Doesn't he have a manga? I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised. Like it's not strangers for it's not sorry. It's not irregular for like a Marvel or DC comic series to have a Japanese manga adaptation.
Obviously, the most popular right now being Deadpool.
Yeah, Deadpool Samurai has a manga,
which shows with All Might shows up, which is just like a wet dream for me.
Yeah, it's so uncanny to see. But before I saw the Batman film, I had a friend who suggested me to buy like 3 certain comics, and this is what I do. I only do this with films I'm really super interested in. I do background research, and I want to like really understand what's going on. I did this with Dune. I bought the book Dune. I read it. I was looking up who's in it, who's going to be cinematographer.
Edgar's a big movie guy. Just
huge
so you know.
movie guy.
Huge movie guy.
I prepped myself for like this. I read The Long Halloween, which is an excellent comic, Batman comic. I suggest everyone to read it. It's heavily inspired. The film was heavily inspired by it, and it's just great just to see like how not only accurate it is, but how different takes each Batman series does it, because like it really feels different from the Christopher Nolan films, but in a sense it feels more grounded in some ways than others, but they're both grounded in a sense, and it's just cool to see different directors. It's kind of like James Bond. Like they just have a different actor every era, I guess, is however you want to say it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like it literally is a mantle to pass on to the next actor. Not that they keep having to do it, but it'd be interesting to see who would be Batman 20, 30 years from now.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I completely agree. I love the movie. Do you think it's the new gold standard for Batman movies?
I think so.
You think so?
I think it's probably the most comic accurate Batman. I've only read like 4 comics, some fairly new, but from what I read, and those are like the pillar stones of Batman comics, along with Batman Year One and like 2 others. But those are, I can say that this is probably my favorite Batman film. You can argue otherwise if it's a better film than The Dark Knight film wise, or as it's written, but the cinematography is excellent. The score, I listen to it every day, and I would like it's great workout music you want to walk slow in the rain with. it's amazing all around, and it was hard for me to find anything wrong with it. I'm pretty sure there is stuff wrong with it, but I mean,
Yeah.
I it's neither here
The
nor
only
there.
thing I can think is that he's completely bulletproof. So
He takes a shotgun to the chest.
yeah, and he just kind of walks up from it. But I mean, yeah, it was great, and I like what you said about the cinematography, because I don't think there is a superhero movie on the planet that has better cinematography than the Batman did.
Yeah.
Um,
Greg Fraser did the cinematography. He
Yeah.
did Dune, Rogue One. Rogue One, when I saw that, I was like, man, this just feels, it looks like a film. It was, well,
Yeah.
obviously Star Wars has had great cinematography. That was the first time I noticed. I'm like, man,
Right.
this guy's doing great with the Batman, because like, it was amazing. I would highly suggest, if it's still in theaters around where you are, to go and watch it.
It definitely is, by the way.
it's so
if you
great.
just check it up. It'll be there. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you're going to mention this, but this would be
Yeah.
a great segue to mention that the Jujutsu Kaisen movie came in second this week
I
when we
know.
were recording.
Right.
Second to the Batman.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you already done talking about the Batman?
I don't know. I figured that. I mean, it's not
Yeah,
much
you
to
like
talk about.
Okay, great. Yeah,
What,
no,
what
that's
time are we
fine.
on? I mean,
No, I had it down for 25 minutes.
I
but
really
if you-
didn't want to.
If you said anything like all you wanted to about the Batman, that's fine. Yeah, because I agree with everything that you said. I think it was great, and the little, like, I keep going back to the little things, right? Like making Arkham its own character is important for me for a Batman
You mean
movie.
Gotham?
Arkham. Ugh. Gotham is its own character is important to me, and
Yeah.
just little stuff like making the Penguin walk like a penguin in that one. I
That was
go back
great.
to that all the time.
It's so funny.
But I said out loud in the theater, "Oh, they made him walk like Penguin."
Oh.
But yeah, Penguin.
It's like
Yeah.
the Leonardo DiCaprio.
No kidding. And I love the relationships in this. I love how a lot of it was already like Gordon and Batman's relationship was
They had
already
such great
preconceived.
chemistry.
My only thing is that I wish that Catwoman and Batman's relationship was already solid while the movie started.
Yeah, because one could
Yeah.
argue that it was rushed, because like, whoa, these guys barely met.
Yeah, and they're ready to get on.
Yeah, like-
but I mean, Batman and Catwoman,
They always have the
they're
hots for
always
each other.
ready. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
always ready. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm ready to move on if you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to brush off it. I just really
No,
thought
no.
that we're short on time.
No, that's great. No, I mean, yeah. I mean, we're only been going for 30 minutes.
Wow.
But
We-
yeah.
Last time we recorded, we like way overshot it than we were supposed to. So now I'm like always
Exactly.
like,
Yeah.
like what time
But
is it?
that's good. That's good. I mean, it was. I'm glad. It's always great just to hear clear and concise thoughts like that. Yeah.
Batman's great. Go watch it.
Yeah. Batman's great. Go watch it.
Yeah. Touching back on the segue that I attempted to do before.
Yeah.
This week, Jujutsu Kaisen came in second in domestic theaters in the United States. Second to Batman, which is still a huge feat. Well, there's not that much movies, but still, it's the
Yeah.
Batman. And the fact that it came out of all the movies that are out right now, it came in second. So I just figured.
Well,
that'd
and
be-
also it's fighting against the Batman. It's also fighting against Spider-Man.
Oh,
You know.
yeah, it's still they
So
really
Spider-Man's still kicking around. So
Yeah.
I mean, those are all obviously going to overtake. But yeah, I got a couple of stats about Jujutsu Kaisen. You ready for these stats?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I don't think you're ready for these stats.
I think I can,
I think
prepare
you're
myself somewhat.
fairly ready for these stats. I agree.
but it surprised me. Go ahead.
So these are stats for in Japan, because we obviously don't have everything
Yeah.
in America, because it's going to be rolling for about 2 more weeks probably, or maybe even just a week, I give it. But it was the second highest anime movie in 2021, with an estimated box office collected of 1 billion yen on its first day.
Jesus.
Huge.
Second, what did he have? Did he have a chance to see what was first?
I have it right here. So first, Mugen Train.
Oh,
1.20 billion.
Oh, okay. I was thinking
yen.
that year. I was okay,
Yeah.
but still,
Because
wow.
this is 2021, and Mugen Train came out, I think, that summer, right?
No, it came out 2020 because it came out. What year is it? It's 2022 now.
Are you sure?
We got it. We got Mugen Train 2021 in March, and Mugen Train came out 2020. I'm not crazy, am I? Because I
Okay.
remember they got it in December and we got it in March, kind of the same way that Jujutsu Kaisen happened.
Let's see.
Yeah, because let me see.
I'm gonna keep talking so that you don't get bored. Yeah, it did come out October 16, 2020.
Yeah,
But I think they're counting it because it
it leads into
it
it.
leads into
Yeah.
2021, and it was released for the rest of the world as well. But
Okay.
but so on the first day, maybe this is of all time. I don't know. I'm not
Alrighty.
sure. But I just have this thing here that talks about. But yeah, Mugen Train 1.20 billion, and then in third, you'll never guess what third was.
Something super Dragon Ball Broly?
Nope. My Hero Academia movie 3, our favorite movie ever.
What?
But
Not
it's very behind. 320 million.
But
So-
wait, but you're telling me My Hero Academia World Hero Mission beat the first two films?
Yep. Yeah. That I knew that did. That definitely happened.
What? I don't know. Okay, I mean, not that I have a problem with it, that much of a problem with it, but
Yeah.
for me and Ben have our issues with the third film of My Hero Academia.
The more time goes on, the more I begin to loathe it. Maybe I just
Especially
need
when
to
you get-
watch it again.
Especially when you
Yeah.
get two films that aren't like filler, or I mean, is the third one? I know the first two My Hero films.
The
are,
third one is more canon than all the rest, I would say. Because the other two's just kind of like happened during a weekend. This actually happens in a like break during the manga.
I guess.
But yeah, I guess.
So to me.
But I mean, we can talk about all the My Hero movies in its different segment. Because I love the first two. I got a lot of problems with the third one.
Yeah, we got our stuff to say about it.
A lot of problems with the third one, and
But people loved it, and that really surprised
universal
me.
praise for it.
We
for
might
it
just
all.
just be the odd ones out.
We
on
might
the-
just be old farts
Mhm.
who only like canonical stuff. But anyway, the Jujutsu Kaisen Zero prequel movie reached over 5.8 billion, about 50.1 million in American terms. It sold over 4.3 million tickets in just 11 days after its release on December 24th, 2021. In its first 3 days, the movie became Japan's second fastest grossing movie, behind last year's Demon Slayer Kibitsu no Yabi Mugen Train.
Yaiba.
So probably overall.
Yeah.
That's probably.
That makes sense.
That's kind of shocking that My Hero Academia is the third.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, I would expect Broly
Yeah.
to be I know Dragon Ball is like super huge. Like I know My Hero is like
It
rising.
might be.
in-
Maybe I just mix these up. Maybe this is like in the span of like 5 years or
all
something.
all I
maybe.
know is that
Yeah.
Mugen Train is still number one in Japan,
Yeah.
highest box office growth movie, and I know that Jujutsu Kaisen recently sneaked into the top 10.
Yeah.
So I know that
Yeah.
for sure. So
yeah,
it is big.
Yeah, I saw. I was putting down all these stats, but then I was like, why would I read this out? Because it basically came second in everything.
Yeah.
Behind Mugen Train.
Yeah.
You know.
Mugen Train
which-
is
it was never going to beat Mugen Train, but the fact that it actually got close to that, especially since Demon Slayer is so big, even with people who aren't into anime.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
I think I don't think people understand, at least people who aren't like that well informed on like how anime is received in Japan.
Yeah.
But based on like several people that I know that discuss about this, Demon Slayer is like way more popular than you think it would be in Japan. And you would be thinking, well, it's Japan, of course they get anime, they literally make it. Why wouldn't it be popular? There's a reason why otakus are called otakus, because it's still like
That's like saying, that's like being here in America and saying, well, of course they watch Marvel movies. That's the most but I know plenty of people who don't watch and could care less.
Yeah.
You know?
So there's only like a good amount, a lot, but still
Yeah.
a good amount, and not that much as you think there would be, or who are anime fans. And Demon Slayer is reaching and breaking those numbers.
Yeah.
I know families, not personally, but I was reading like a bunch of families specifically all watch Demon Slayer while it's airing, and they flocked to the theaters when it went. And that's why it's so huge. And it's not like it's doing anything so differently. It just does everything right in the right ways, and it's just, one, very marketable. Two, just has a simple, very easy story. Demon Slayer, like the name is in it. They slay demons.
Literally.
So, but I can't really dive into why exactly, because I really don't understand why this specific anime is so specifically bigger and better in a sense, at least views wise.
I'll
in Japan.
give you one more. Nezuko-chan. Literally only Nezuko. Yeah, well, it's. I think it has to do with the the anime can be cutesy at times. I think that
Yeah.
that has a big part of it.
It has a lot of
You know.
things that drag other animes down, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's just still, it blows my mind.
Yeah.
And I knew it was going to be such a big feat to beat, and it didn't. Not that
No,
it's a bad
there's
thing.
no way.
Jujutsu Kaisen still is an amazing film,
Yeah.
and we're going to get into that.
Yeah. First, before we talk about our review, I wanted to talk a little bit about. Did you read the manga, Edgar?
Yes, I did, just recently.
Good. Yeah, me too. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about differences of the movie and manga.
Yeah.
I'm going to have my own separate video on my own channel. It's going to be my first video talking about the differences, but I just wanted to talk to it and touch on it a little bit here. Here, Edgar, here's a list of characters who are in this movie who aren't
That was like
in the manga.
That was like the main difference that I
Yeah.
noticed, yeah.
Shoko, who is the doctor.
Yeah.
She's not in the manga.
Uh-huh.
Nita, who is the girl with blonde hair. With
The witch?
No. She has blonde hair and she's such a waifu. And it's black in the middle. You know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Akari Nita. She's not in the manga.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. Who else?
I know Kyoto's class wasn't even in the
No,
wasn't in the manga.
Nanami's not in the manga either.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Daddy Nanami.
Niritoshi Kamo, Aoi Todo, Momo Nishimiya, not in it.
These are big characters
Yeah.
in the anime and
Yeah.
the manga.
Mei is in it. She's the girl with the blue, ponytail. Mei is in it, but she doesn't have that big moment where she's like slashing all these dudes up.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, if you want to check, she's in the background. That's where I thought Nanami was gonna be.
Yeah,
I didn't catch him in there.
It just fits so
Yeah.
well, and it made sense when I was watching the film. I'm like, of course they would be like, they would be in it. I'm like, it
Yeah.
makes sense because like it's not like everything just starts like as soon as the manga series starts, because this is
Right.
a prequel.
And it's just to help, kind of form the story.
It makes you feel like it's. I mean, obviously it's like canon, but it really makes you feel like it's part
Yeah.
of the world, and that's why I loved it. It was like little snippets of us. It wasn't fan service.
Mhm.
It was just amazing, to see him. I can't find her in here.
It
but
was
I
a
know she
little
was
bit fan servicey, but like still, it still made sense. Like it's kind of like. Obviously, Jujutsu did it much better, but it's kind of like when Legolas showed up in The Hobbit. Like, yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
That was-
Legolas would be there. He would be in Mirkwood because he's the prince, of the king.
He would not be as involved.
but
as
he
would.
would no, he wasn't even in the books.
No.
But I mean, if he just showed up, I would have been fine with it. But he had a much bigger part, which I did not like.
Yeah.
But, anyways, yeah. So those are just a couple of things, and then to talk about like character design in the volume, Gege talks about he has to preface
Mm-hmm.
that Itadori and Inumaki are not the same.
He's
characters.
the cursed user speech.
Yeah, Toge Inumaki
Yeah.
is the cursed user.
I like him a lot.
Oh, I love him.
I love
him.
his design.
Oh, he's great. But he had to preface in the manga that these two are not the same characters because in the movie,
Yeah.
Toge looks different, but in the manga, he's literally Itadori.
Yeah, he has
You
the
know?
same. He
Yeah.
has the same. If I'm looking, because like he changed the hairstyle in the movie
Uh-huh.
specifically, I think, to make it look different. Not only is
Yes.
it like it's a different time, so like okay, so it's different haircut,
Yeah.
but in the manga it's not that easy to tell, so that's why he specifies it.
But he changed for the main series. He changed Inumaki's eyes, and because his eyes kind of look like Itadori's in this one.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
He looks like Itadori.
I have it in front of
yeah.
me, and Megumi looks
Yeah.
like Yuta. And
Yuta.
he also prefaces that.
Yeah, they have the same hair, but they
Yeah.
they had already different eyes, but they but it was just fascinating. Also in the manga, this is just something that I thought was fascinating, and it's not really like out there. I think
Gojo.
yeah, Gojo. Why did I forget his name?
How can I forget? his
How
name?
can I forget Gojo Satoru?
Daddy Gojo. What are you
Daddy
talking about?
Gojo. You know he's gonna be the thumbnail of this video, right?
I wouldn't be.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Not even Yuta?
No, Yuta's not gonna get enough clicks, baby. It's got to be Gojo Satoru.
I guess.
Come on, it's gonna be when he unveils his eyes.
Well,
you
it
know?
has to be
Yeah.
from at least from the yeah.
Of course. But Gojo looks so much younger in this.
It looks the same to me.
I think he looks so much younger. I like he looks skinnier. You know.
I need to rewatch
yeah.
in the series and reread. I haven't read the manga series, but I need to rewatch it, I guess. But like,
I just think he looks a little bit skinnier, but I mean I like that and that in the manga he's a little bit younger.
He just has different bandages, and that was like the biggest difference for me.
Oh right,
because he wears the black like bandana bandage or whatever in the manga anime series. And in this one, he has like those white bandages, like if it was like an injury, but it's not an injury, I guess. It's like I don't spoil me on it because I've only know as far as the anime goes. So.
Yeah, and we'll talk about it when we talk about that when we get into the review.
You think it was censored in any way? Or do you think the film kept it as?
I think the film was actually a little bit darker, don't you think?
Maybe.
It's like the blood was splattering everywhere.
Yeah, I know two things that were specifically different. I'm not going to mention them. I mean, they're not spoilers, but one of them I kind of can't mention because it's kind of hard to describe. But one of them is in the exorcism. I say exorcism, it's really light. When Geto gets rid of the curse for the lady, it's done differently. And in an obvious way. And you're like, I guess I can see why they changed it. That and like the very beginning where they show Yuta and the bullies, I think it showed more like what happened to the bullies. I didn't know there was something.
Yeah, they also flipped around that time sequences as well.
Yeah, so that was different.
That was different, but I'll talk about that later because there's a whole bunch of small stuff because I've seen the movie 3 times now.
I've only seen it once.
Because I love it and Jujutsu is probably my 3rd favorite shonen. So
what's your second?
Well, we'll get there. I'm sure.
I want to know now.
No. We'll talk about that another time. But yeah, that's just what I wanted to talk about. Edgar, what? So let's do a non-spoiler. I mean, we kind of
there's not. About, I mean, there's not much to. This is going to be coming out like almost 2 weeks after the film, and I can't really say that it stick around that much longer. Yeah. So if you really wanted to watch it, you probably have watched it by this podcast episode release. So, and even like I said, any spoiler, unless it's like we really preface it as a big spoiler, any slight spoiler that we touch on won't really ruin the experience for you.
No, definitely.
So, I think it's safe to say that most people who are listening.
So spoilers ahead. If you're waiting for it to go on like DVD or something, just know that. However, if in terms of spoilers for the manga, Edgar has not read the manga, so we won't touch on any of that because we don't want him to get spoiled. I am fully caught up to the manga and I love it, but we will talk about that another time
once I catch up to it.
Yeah, or if Edgar just wants to watch
I'm not gonna wait till next year, man.
It comes out next year. I forgot.
I'm not waiting a
year. But that's season 2 is gonna be great. But so let's talk about this movie. So Edgar, obviously we haven't read it. We didn't read it before, so we didn't know. We went into it blind.
Yeah.
And as somebody who hasn't read the manga, did you feel left out in a couple of places?
No.
What did you feel? Yeah.
I really didn't feel left out, and I was really surprised, and I was really happy for that.
That's good.
There is nothing in here that made me feel like a loser for not reading the manga or not knowing who these characters were beforehand. This is a perfect prequel film. It really doesn't rely on you having to know. I think it's safe to say that you don't even have to watch or read the actual series for you to enjoy this film. Obviously, they're introducing characters that are already been introduced in the manga and anime, but this just does a really good job of it kind of giving you the rundown of how this world works, who these characters are, what dynamics they have, and it was really fun to see all this played down scene on the big screen, and I didn't feel how do you say it, left behind at all.
Great, yeah. I that's great, and I agree. I think this was this is obviously my favorite anime film of all time. Like I've seen it so many times that I'm probably gonna go see it a 4th. I
might join you then.
I just absolutely am in love with Jujutsu and the world, and every time I think about it more, I think about the brilliance of Gege and stuff like that. But I wanted to talk about how at the beginning of the volume, Gege says, "Here's the prequel to Jujutsu Kaisen, serialized by Weekly Shonen Jump. Good things are sure to come to those who read this." And I think that just adds so much to Gege understanding hey, if you're a fan of this, read this and you will be rewarded for being a fan of Jujutsu Kaisen, which I think is just like which I think a lot of, series forget sometimes, that they kind of just want to do their own thing, but sometimes you need to be rewarded for being a fan.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Jujutsu does. You get rewarded for reading this, because if you just watch the first season, that's fine. The pacing is great. Everything's great about it, but you get so much lore, so much more insight when you read or watch this, which I think is just great, which I think is great for a story to have.
I just want to throw this out there. When it was like the first thing that I told Ben, and this might be a hot take, I can't really say for certain, but I like this better than the series itself. Yeah. At least the anime series. I love this film not so much more, but I just liked it more.
And you specifically talked about how you liked the main characters in this better than so he likes so Edgar likes Maki, Toge, Panda, and Yuta better than Yuji, Megumi, and Nobara.
Yeah, known as the second years who are in this film.
Yeah.
Not to say that that the main cast in the anime or in manga are like any worse. I love them a lot. I like them a lot. They're written really well, and their dynamic is absolutely so much fun to watch when watching the anime when I did. But there's just something about that these second years had that it's not like that they liked each other more, that they got along with each other, because they get off on the wrong foot at the beginning and they have their differences. They just feel so like welcoming and just safe to be around, and that might not seem like a plus, but there's just something about it I can't really describe, that I like them more than the main cast, that makes me want to see them more. And it's really like in a bittersweet way disappointing that they're not the main cast. And I was looking online, I'm not the only one thinking this, like I really want to see them more. Like they're like in a sense my favorite characters in this series now, and especially Yuta, the main protagonist. Yeah. And what's interesting here, and we're about to get into, is that this series was this volume in this movie, Jujutsu Kaisen 0, was supposed to be his how should I say it? His when you're offering something to somebody or when you're presenting it.
Oh, it's his pitch.
Yeah, this was his pitch, right?
Yeah, this was his pitch. He did this to show to Shonen Jump, hey, this is the story that I've got. Yeah. And I think he realized that because of how fast it goes, but it doesn't really take away from it. But I think he always knew, that this wasn't going to be the main story. But he
didn't even intend it to be a story. You want me to read it? What he wrote in the back of it?
Go ahead, man.
Yeah, he says, because he also wrote something in the back. This is super interesting. Yeah. Postscript ? He put a question mark. Yeah. Truth be told, by the time Volume 0's 4 chapters were finished for the monthly magazine, I had no intention of trying to get Jujutsu Kaisen serialized in Weekly Shonen Jump. Thankfully, this content of the Volume 0 was well received, so it was more convenient to get something serialized that was already made. Yeah. Also, I was told that when Volume 0 would be made into a graphic novel format, it can be featured as a prelude to the Weekly Shonen Jump series and be read by a lot more people. So I figured, why not? Let's do this. And thus, Jujutsu Kaisen was born. So he also writes a bunch of other stuff, but he also mentions that when he writes, he doesn't think of themes and principles in mind. He just thinks of things like, these twists would be interesting, he would say, or these characters might be cool, and this scene would be amazing. And he just writes. He just connects the dots by the end, and I'm
wow, how easy.
Way to be lazy.
Good for you.
But I really related him in a writing aspect. I'm like, that's literally me. I in the middle of the night, I would think like, man, wouldn't it be cool if somebody did this, and I would plan it in the story. I'm like, how the heck am I gonna get there? Yeah. So it's just really funny and really cool to see that that's official great. Mangaka to do that.
That's great, because I'm like, it makes me a little bit worried about the end, because
he said he mentions that he already knows what's gonna happen.
Okay, good. Then I think that might be him. I think that might be him joshing it a little bit, being like, oh, it's not. I'm sure he has. He has his editors who are thinking about themes and stuff like that. Because there are, if he didn't think about themes or character arcs, then he is a storytelling prodigy, and it just comes to him.
I wouldn't be
because,
surprised
yeah.
if he was, because he
Yeah.
just does them so seamlessly into the stories that don't seem,
Yeah.
obvious, and that was something very prevalent in this film slash manga. It's just so. One could argue, one could argue that Yuta is written a bit more generically when it comes to
Yeah.
shonen protagonists. He has that very empathetic weak boy. I don't know what the term is, but weak boy, like
Tanjiro type.
more like
type.
a Deku type.
More like a Deku,
like I
yeah.
can't do this. I just want to. He kind of feels helpless, and he feels like insecure about himself. He literally tries to commit suicide. He mentions that he doesn't want to live anymore. He has no will. Something tragic happens in his past, and he just has no will to move forward. And his main reason in this film is that he wants to find a reason to keep on living.
Yeah.
And it's really, really moving. And when he said that, I was really touched. And it's not something new that I haven't seen before, but it's just the way it was executed was just so well. And it's why I liked this protagenist better than Yuji.
Itadori. Yeah.
Don't throw knives at me.
No. I think Yuji, and I figured this out very recently, is that Yuji and Yuta are kind of antithesis of themselves.
Yeah.
Because they also look very different, and they're just the exact opposite, because Itadori has pure strength.
Yeah.
And he uses that pure strength to cover up that he doesn't have as much jujutsu powers.
Cursed energy?
Yeah, cursed energy. There you go.
I don't.
And Yuta uses his insane cursed energy to cover up that he's not very powerful.
Yeah.
So they're kind of the opposites. However, I do have to say, for Gege's writing style and how the series is, I do think Itadori is a better protagonist.
Yeah, I'm coming from a point of view that doesn't know what's happening. I can't wait to see Yuji Itadori's progression in the series.
Yeah.
I've only essentially, in terms of manga, have only know 6 volumes worth of information.
Yeah.
So his story is not finished, and Yuta isn't either. But they did wrap up Yuta's whole arc, at least not all of it, but a good arc of his character really well in this one movie slash volume. So and in a sense, the reason why I'm not so much on Itadori is because there's still a lot more, because his character was specifically written for the entire series. So in a sense, it's definitely not complete yet. So
let's talk about some relationships here. So first, I wanted to touch on, what did you think, as a non-manga reader? What did you think about Gojo and Geto?
I'm getting real Dumbledore / Grindelwald vibes for those.
And
not in a sense that they're romantically involved, but in a sense that there's history that you really want to know what's going on, and that makes these characters so not black and white, really gray. Because I'm still baffled that this happened. I'm still freaking. I'm why is no one talking about this? And all the manga fans are probably oh, you'll see.
Yeah.
He specifically put his in the climax of the film. There's a fight going on, and he sends his 2 students to help Yuta as he's being confronted by the main villain. And he puts Gojo knows. In the end of the film, he explains that he knew that they're going to be put in danger, and they get severely hurt. But he knew that that Geto wouldn't kill them on knowing his principles. And I'm that's cool and all how you would know that, but you still sent them knowing what would happen to them, and that's kind of messed up, and it makes him a great character, and he calls him his friend.
Gojo is, I think a lot of people kind of dumb down how good of a character he is, because I see a lot of times oh, he's cocky, I don't think Gojo is cocky.
No, he just knows his strength and is open about it.
I think he's more like a cat playing with his food. I think when he does, he genuinely enjoys it. But I like a lot of people talk about his cockiness. I think that's a very base. I think Gojo Satoru is a much deeper character than a lot of people think.
You get snippets of it,
yeah.
like when he threatens the elders, or I don't know who it is, like the people who run Jujutsu Kaisen
Yeah, the
High,
elders,
of
yeah,
how
yeah.
like he can like wipe
He's
them
like,
out.
damn geezers. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
he
great.
can wipe them out with
And
like
one of my favorite scenes of the movie is when he walks out and he goes, "Nobody can take away youth from young people.
Exactly.
Nobody." And I was like, Gojo has the best lines in all of Jujutsu Kaisen. But I wanted to. It's fascinating because I thought that this movie was originally going to be Gojo's backstory, which happens in the manga, but we actually see snippets of it in this movie, so we can talk about.
they
him.
do tease that
Yeah.
they do tease that stuff, and I didn't feel left out in it. I just was
Yeah.
intrigued. So usually when films or stories do that, where they like put in like a hey, for those of you who've read this and that, this
Yeah.
is like for you. And for me, I was like, what is that about? I really
Yeah.
want to know.
And my favorite panel in all of Jujutsu Kaisen is because it's when I read Jujutsu and it made me realize, wow, this is more philosophical than I thought.
Yeah.
And this really touched, because I love Geto. I love Geto as a character. When that one scene where they're on the street together and in the younger selves, and he says, "Are you the strongest because you're Gojo Satoru, or are you Gojo Satoru because you're the strongest?" And he has that part where he could flick his fingers and end his life, but he chooses not to do it. And I think that is just so.
Yeah, he lets him live. That's another thing that
Yeah.
that made me see that
And-
this is
Yeah.
not a two-dimensional character.
Yeah, Geto is so deep, man.
Yeah.
And my favorite, like, because a lot of in the fight scene,
I just realized
right?
something. Keep
In the
going.
fight scene when he's fighting Yuta, and most anime antagonists would be like, "Oh, you're weak," or something like, or "Come on, kid," But
He respects him.
But Yuta was like, "Oh, you're a bad dude," and Geto was like, "You're just not getting it. I don't want to be God. I want a haven where people like you and people like me are happy.
He's
And
literally
that's all I want."
He's literally Grindelwald. I
Yeah.
just realized
And-
his cold. He
Yeah.
hates curse users.
Yeah.
And it's something like that's basically Grindelwald because he wants an equal world where only those with cursed abilities don't have to live in fear.
No kidding. And so Geto's whole shtick in this movie / manga is that he wants to create a haven for cursed users.
No monkeys, as he would put
Yeah,
it.
no monkeys.
That's not
Yeah.
that's not any
Yeah.
any racial
There
term.
was-
He literally says
yeah.
monkeys in a literal sense
In
as
my
a human.
second viewing, there were some people like, "Hey yo."
Hey, yo, whoa! I can't
It was-
hashtag cancel ghetto.
Yeah,
Wow.
but it's fascinating because it makes his drive and his goal in
drive,
this
it's about
movie.
power.
It's about drive. It's about power. But it is ingrained in this universe because we have seen it. We have seen it with characters like Jinpei.
Who's he?
Jinpei, who
I'm not
he
good
was
with
the guy.
names.
He was the guy who died in the first season. Who
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
And we've seen it multiple times with bullying,
Yeah, bullying's a huge theme,
Yeah.
more than other. I mean, that's an obvious tactic to use in storytelling, but this is like, I like now that I look back on it, like they really, really focus on that type of
Yeah.
the consequences and how it impacts the characters in this series.
Yeah, but when Geto's like the weak band together and lessen the strong, it makes sense because all of those bullies who attacked Jinpei, who even attacked Yuta at the beginning of this movie, which
Yeah.
makes the arc of Yuta even more like compelling.
Yeah.
It's just like, I love it when a character has goals that are deeply, deeply ingrained in storytelling elements that have already been established in the manga.
Yeah, and
It's fantastic.
They're like mirrored versions of each other.
Yeah.
Like Junpei could have been a Yuta, or Yuta could have been like Junpei.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, so talking about relationships. Oh, we got
Yeah.
a little bit of a
So, yeah, spicy.
We got Maki
Uh,
and Yuta.
I
you know?
love people. Ben
Yeah.
was telling me, and I well, actually, I just noticed this too. Like
Yeah.
when you're involved in like in the anime like Twitter sphere, like the sphere of like pop culture and like this anime verse that you keep hearing news and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Always hearing I was like, Maki's the best. Maki's a go. She's bae. She's
Yeah.
like
My
she's-
friends are all like, "Oh, Maki!" Like they're like, "We love Maki."
It,
Yeah,
this series is like was is fairly known for its female characters, and
They're all very good.
They're well
all very
written,
good.
and and unfortunately that's not something you get with a lot of shonen these days.
Yeah.
A lot of shonen series, they're just like you just don't get females.
Yeah.
They kind of get sidelined
Right.
in terms of like when they're written. But this series does them very well. And
You also have to like a lot of these are made for younger boys.
Yeah. They're
So,
made for
you
younger
know.
boys, and I don't know. I just feel like that's not a reason to not write good
I-
female
No,
characters.
I get you.
Yeah.
But they're trying to play to their. I'm not defending it.
No,
I'm
no,
just
no,
saying
I
that
see.
maybe
Yeah.
maybe that's why.
Yeah,
you know.
but Maki, I saw her in the series, in the
Yeah.
original series. I'm like, okay, she's cool, I guess. But when I saw in the movie,
bad.
yeah, and the same thing
Yeah.
for the second years in general. I just liked them more in this
Yeah.
series. I just saw them click better, and I don't know, man. I just really love him.
But
I love Maki.
Maki is Maki's
she's like my
great.
second favorite character now.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah.
Who's the first?
Yuta.
Oh, you.
And
Nice.
so I
Very
know
good.
people are like, well, Gojo. Shut up. We have enough of those Gojo stands. We have enough of stands for
Yeah.
everybody. Yuta's my boy.
Yeah,
I want
Yuta's
to
the
see.
boy.
I want to see it. It could change. I have,
Yeah.
like I said, I've only seen the anime. This can drastically change. You'll see, like in 2 months
Right.
or so.
Yeah.
But
no,
man,
I get you, man. I get you. Like my jujitsu like ranking of favorite characters change every day, but there is one character who stands at the top, and we'll talk about that later. But yeah, like Maki is very, and I love it because and you know this isn't a particularly new relationship type in media. You know,
Okay.
like we've seen the nervous kid or the nervous guy and the girl who could probably beat you up but has good intentions, and then the guy also has good intentions, so they end up they clash at the beginning, but they want the same thing at the end, and at the end like
these characters click really, really well, and we're hinting at that, the fact that they could be like romantically involved in the future,
of course,
and it's obvious. If you're like, well, I didn't see it. Like, come on. I mean, I'm not one. I hate shippers, and I hate being one to ship. I hate putting two people together. Like, yes, this is it.
But that there's a difference between like, because shipping is a main part of shipping is taking two random people and
That
going,
aren't-
no kids.
like, wouldn't it be great if they were?
Yeah.
But they're not. But
they've never met each other.
Yeah, exactly. But this film
yeah.
definitely hints at it,
Yeah.
and they just work. Even just playing characters together, they just click so well. Like he fits in so well to that group, and like when
He's
Yuta,
the missing piece in
Yeah.
that group.
when
yeah.
Yuta was with right before the big fight and the climax begins of this film, when Maki explains her past, I got more. I felt for her more than I did in the, like I said, in the series.
Yeah.
It just clicked more. And Yuta's like words with her, how he, and literally the
But
same thing.
I think it worked more because Maki, thanks to people like Yuta, has in the series has already like gotten over that. She's like, I've got a new family now. But in this one, she's still fairly young, so she's still reeling from that. You know.
Yeah. I love that moment, and there's so many moments that I'm convinced. I want to watch this movie again. I have to read the series now.
Yeah.
I've never been more excited than Jujutsu Kaisen than I have been now. I don't think I would have read the manga any further if it wasn't for this movie.
Yeah.
When I first saw the series, I was like, okay, it might have been overhyped for me because this was like talked about like immensely as much as Demon Slayers. And sometimes when I watch an overhyped or over talked about series, sometimes that doesn't affect me, but it did for this one. And I wasn't judging it beforehand. I wasn't prejudiced of it, but that's how I ended up at the end of it. I'm like, okay, it was good.
Yeah.
I don't see all the talk about it, I guess, but just seeing this film completely blew me out of the water.
Yeah, I think because I agree, because at the beginning I was like, what the, it's just fast anime, but every day I think about it more and more, and I'm like, this is a brilliant series, and it is in my top 3 and probably to stay. And it's not like it does anything like super new. It just does everything in most elements, like to a precise point. It's like the pacing is tightly wound. I like using that word a lot because it just is, and that's something that can absolutely derail a series if it just doesn't have good pacing. Definitely.
The characters, fantastic. Their design, the way they interact with each other is just something I love seeing, and makes it makes a world and series feel welcoming. And
definitely
cool.
There's one more relationship I want to talk about because we haven't touched on her at all. Rika-chan. We haven't talked about Yuta and Rika. What did you think about Rika? What did you think about
the moment I figured out what happened? I'm like, man, this sucks. They don't.
Yeah.
It's like it really tugs at your heartstrings, and I'm like, man, this is like not. Man, this is just really unfortunate, and it's a really good motivation, and it's just interesting.
I think, and we were talking about the antithesis of Yuta and Yuji, and I think it's fascinating because when I first watched it, I was like, I think Rika's a worse version of Sukuna. Like a less conflictual version.
Yeah, Kuna is the demon within. That was how Yuji has not his main power, but a lot of his power resides in.
But it's like I just think the more I think about it, I'm like, that's wrong. I think it's just different, and I think it plays into the antithesis of them is because Yuta cares that's the source of his power. Yeah, that is the source of. Rika is the source of his energy. Yeah. Yuji has no control over Sukuna.
And they feel differently towards their respective curses.
And whether or not what happens to Sukuna, will Yuji be able to use Sukuna like he uses Rika? Yeah. Or will Sukuna eventually be the big bad? We don't know. But we'll see about that. But I thought all of those moments were really, really well touched on, and
it was one of the reasons that made me stick with Yuta, which made me feel from. I like seeing how he grows from this and how he just feels so awful about what happened.
I liked how she was like, I liked how she was like a little kid, and she was still, but she deeply cared for Yuta. Yeah, let's talk about cameos just real quick. So obviously we have any cameos that jumped out at you, Edgar?
Seeing Kyoto's class was so great. Seeing Toto.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, it was so fun. I was like laughing in my seat when I saw him. It just made me like literally this movie just made me like.
And he was like Takeda-chan's on this talk show,
Yeah. Just think, the fact that it wasn't in the manga. I'm like, I'm really glad they put it in the film because it was really great seeing them, especially your favorite. Is that your favorite character?
My favorite character is Nanami, yeah. And so our first movie viewing, right? I was expecting the audience to go crazy for Gojo, because
nothing. I didn't hear anything.
But we didn't hear anything because I think Gojo, like if Gojo had shown up like as a, like as a separate force of the story, I think he would have gotten more. But he was a main character of the story.
He was on the poster, so we knew he was going to be in it.
And so there's this part where just jujitsu high schoolers getting slaughtered, and they're all standing there, and one starts to walk towards, and Nanami grabs her on the shoulder and goes, "Let me handle this." And our audience erupted, and there was a guy who went, "Yeah, let's go," and I was like, "Yeah!" I was like, "Nanami!" And then the audience erupts, and Nanami started. I was cheering the whole time.
He was like an underrated. Like I knew people loved him, but I was like looking around me. I'm like, really? Like,
I was like, "Nanami, baby!"
It was like,
and just to touch on Nanami real, but I think to be a good cursed user, because who's the strongest in the series? It's Gojo Satoru, and I think to be a great jujutsu sorcerer is you need to have that chaotic energy, but know how to channel it. Like Gojo is chaotic, but he's also very calm and collected. Yeah. But I think Nanami isn't chaotic at all, but he's become the best jujutsu sorcerer that he himself can be. And he can't go past that because he's just not chaotic,
Yeah, he just doesn't. He has limits on himself.
So that's why he will always be below Gojo Satoru. But he is like in the series, he was perfect teaching Itadori. Like he was exactly what Itadori needed.
Yeah, Gojo's not a good. I mean, we can talk about this later, but Gojo's not in my book is an awful teacher. He barely does anything.
I think he just does things differently. He's very Anyway, but we can talk about worse.
He's like on the same list as All Might, like in terms of being a good teacher.
Say that. Hey, All Might's a terrible teacher until he loses his power. But yeah, I just love that moment. And since we're talking about favorite moments, Edgar, let's talk about what was your favorite moment of the movie, and we'll end it here. Yeah.
I think my favorite moment was and the fight, and the fights don't carry as if like the movie's dragon, like they elevate it to what's already amazing.
Definitely.
But like
Very
there's a
fast.
very specific moment. The music is like it has some rock elements, and it has like a rock song at the beginning. I'm like, okay, this feels different. I
Yeah.
really like this. And it has like in the middle of the in the orchestratal in the orchestra type music, that's soundtrack that's going on during a fight, in the moment when light spoilers, when the sword breaks, because that was his main tool of fighting. When his sword breaks and the Geto's like, yeah, he's like, there's no way that's it. You're done.
You're
it's
done.
over.
It's over for you.
The guitar, like there's a riff of a guitar, like it starts playing, and then like his fist just like punches it. It just works so well.
Oh my god, dude.
Oh man, once
so
that
good.
moment is so clean. It's just so awesome. I was like
Yeah.
tingles like all around me, and like I just jumped
yeah.
out of my seat. So amazing. I think that was like my favorite moment.
Yeah, yeah.
Everything about that scene was amazing.
Any like, what's your second or third favorite? Because we got a little while.
Second or third favorite. One of them. Third favorite probably Maki and Yuta's scene when they're talking with each other. Very underrated scene. And second favorite is probably had to be Gojo's fight with what's his face?
Gojo's fight with Miguel, I think
his
name was Miguel.
Yeah. That was such a
great.
well done fight.
Yeah. We didn't even talk about the after credit scene. What did you think about it? I mean, it was just short.
Like I said, I mentioned it before. I mean, I mentioned the stuff like that. Like it teases what's to come in the future, referring to Gojo's past and what's to come, and it teases that Yuta's staying around in the story, even though we don't see him in the main series. But it teases. It's like a post-credit scene. It teases you for more.
Yeah.
I'm interested now. I really want to know what's happening.
Yeah.
And I really like that, and it didn't make me feel left out. What was your favorite moment?
We'll just take the Nanami one out because sadly it's not canon in the manga, you know, as Sphereverse. But I think seeing, and I'm also going to take out the Gojo, are you the strongest? And that's my favorite panel in the manga, so that's cheating.
Yeah.
And it wasn't in this version. Was it in the manga? I don't remember. Check that up real quick.
Well, you go ahead.
But I think my favorite moment, and it's so hard to talk about because I have so many, but I think the beginning portion where the music was playing, you know, that really soft, that was like you know, and it was him getting dressed and getting ready to go to Jujutsu High. I loved that, man. I love those moments because here's the thing, Jujutsu from here on has been loud, has been really forward, because Yuji is the main character. Itadori's the main, and he's loud and can be obnoxious at times, you know. But Yuta is a very and these two stories just show how how a main character can completely change the tone of a story. And the fact when Yuta was walking, and the fact that it was more quiet in this series would just really hit me. And that first moment of it being more of a serene storytelling experience, loved that first moment. That's probably number one if you take out the other two. And then the second one was probably Inamaki's scene where he walks up to the fish and he just like obliterates him, and he's like get crushed or something like that, and then they all that was sick.
I love seeing his power in work. It's just so cool.
Isn't it great? It's so fantastic. And then the third is the guitar riff. There's also that I love to see with every audience. Oh, of course, Panda's great, but Panda, when he like teased Maki,
that was funny.
I really like that. That was an added part. But there's one part, so I've seen it with 3 separate audiences, when he goes to kiss Rika. And all 3 audiences had gone, what?
There's always like an uncomfortable murmur.
They're like, well, no, mine is loud. Like all 3 have been loud. They've all been like, hey, what? You know?
Yeah, there's a touching. I mean, it works. It's a touching moment. He goes to kiss Rika. She's like in a cursed, monstrous form, and it's just the way he opens his mouth into it. Like he's really gonna get into it. That just makes it kind of funny.
And when he's like, that's rude. like this is true love.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, and
yeah, when he does it,
yeah.
that's that moment.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite, one of my favorite panels in the
Yeah.
actual manga of this
Mhm.
of this story. This is really good.
and because that's when he truly becomes confident in his own power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But really quick, we're about to end the
Yeah.
episode here. We're about
Yeah.
to run
We
out
got
of time.
some time because we we had that one part.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But
Yeah.
what was I gonna say? How would you say in terms of animation? I know when we watched Demon Slayer,
Mhm.
and then we watched the movie, there was a huge jump in animation in terms
Yeah.
of the movie. Would you say there was much of a difference in this? If it was any better?
No, I would say it was fairly similar to
Yeah.
to the series. I actually think Demon Slayer season 2 was better than the movie.
Yeah.
In animation.
But there was a
wise.
difference
Yeah.
in between the movie
Yeah.
and the first season, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
great to see. Not to say that that's the reason why this film didn't do as good as Mugen Train. There's like a lot of reasons why. But I was just interested to hear on how you thought
Yeah.
about it. This is a good film. There's like no moments where I'm like, okay, Mappa, you're kind of slipping here.
Yeah.
It just kept the same. There were no impressive moments animation wise. They just kept the same. There was nothing
Yeah.
bad about it, so they just kept the same. And I just wanted to know how
Yeah,
you
it
thought
was.
about
It's Jujutsu's anime is pretty stylized
Yeah.
too. It fits in the manga fairly well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's great. Characters are great. Everything's great about it.
Go watch it if
Go watch it. Go
if you
support
can.
this movie. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
It's a
Definitely.
great movie. Or if it's not out in theaters anymore, just read the manga.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely great.
Definitely. But we're I'm sure Edgar is very excited to see where the story goes on
Yeah.
from here, and we'll probably follow his journey with him as we do that.
All I keep hearing about is not Shibuya York, but that's like literally
That's
all I
Shibuya.
hear.
Yeah, yeah. That's gonna be all of season 2. But yeah, that's great.
Anything else
Yeah,
you want to
I think that's all we got for today. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you
for,
guys.
for who have already subscribed and liked our last video.
Yeah,
We're
follow
very
us on
thankful for that.
Spotify,
Yeah.
iTunes. We're on YouTube,
Yeah.
Anchor as well. If you want to listen
Yeah.
specifically through there.
Yeah. Next week we'll be talking about the
Ending of Dr. Stone.
ending and Fire Force.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll be talking about those series as a whole. There will be a non-spoiler section for those
Yeah.
who have not read the manga and are like, should I continue watching the anime because I don't know if
Yeah.
this is good or not. But yeah, yeah, that's it. That's it for me.
Yeah. Thank you guys for coming and listening to us rant and talk about things.
Yeah,
And we'll see you in the next episode.
yeah. See you guys next week.
Bye bye.
Peace.